to Focus on B, the single-part video series where I take a look at a game that I wouldn't necessarily want to let's play, but still has a ton of qualities that I want to talk about. This is your boy Serious Sam, but it's on the Xbox. Well, if you might be able to tell by the graphical glitches that it's not actually on the Xbox, but you know, I've done a vivid noise of the PC version of Serious Sam's Second Encounter. I'm like, fuck it, let's do the Xbox version of the first one, because this is a very strange Xbox conversion. Well, I don't know if strange is the right word, but it's definitely a conversion. So, well, first of all, from a technical standpoint, it's damn good. Runs real good, even on this emulator. You shouldn't say, actually, no, I think it's only a problem if it's Nintendo. If it's at Microsoft, I don't think Microsoft gives a shit. I mean, you can get this game, like, so easily from places. But anyway, you know, the Xbox version, that is. Otherwise, you go on Steam, get the PC version. It's all good and dandy. But yeah, so first thing you'll probably notice if you're more familiar with the PC version is the art style. Look at how everything is, like, way more colorful. The models are a little bit different. They're actually higher in detail. This is not the most efficient weapon to be using for this guy, but that's okay. The HUD is all different, and Sam himself looks different as well. And there's also this life counter, as you can see. Yeah, they implemented a life counter because, well, obviously you can't quick save on this thing. There are some games from the era that do have quick saving on console, but this is not one of them, clearly. Let's try and switch over to a weapon that's actually appropriate for the situation. Get the rocket launcher out and shoot these guys. Very formulaic combat, a total contrast to how you know, I did a video on Painkiller Hell Wars, right? Which is a completely different kind of Xbox conversion. That's not even a conversion at all. It was just a straight port. Although the controls were a little bit different, but other than that, like the physics, and I know what it is. Now I've been reading up on game development, and now I know what the problem was. So notice how here when I go diagonally, I move at the same speed. That's because the developers normalized the movement. But with Painkiller, they must have forgotten to do that because they never took into account the fact that, you know, if you emulate this, you can hold down multiple directions at once, unlike how on an analog stick you can only hold one. And so what happens is the input, the value of how fast you should be going gets multiplied based on how many buttons you're pressing down. That doesn't happen here because they've normalized it. That's a setting. But they forgot to do that for Painkiller, so that's why you go faster diagonally. I find that very funny. But anyway, so the art style, I think, is actually very appealing. I think it walks that fine line between being kind of grounded but still being exaggerated. See, Serious Sam 2, yes, I have understood that the game is not just, it's not controversial because of its art style necessarily, it's controversial because of its gameplay, right, which is far more important. But I also feel that even though that game can be very beautiful at times, in certain aspects it goes a little too far. Oh, I got a cutscene holding me shut up for a bit because these cutscenes are actually pretty good.
I see dead people.
So as it is plain to see, they have added some new cutscenes as well, which take advantage of mocap technology. And there's, you know, they're just a tiny little bit uncanny, I feel, with the way Sam moves, but it's somehow significantly better than what ended up in Serious Sam 2. I fucking hate the mocap movement in that game. Like, it just looks awful. It looks so stilted and weird. Like, it looks floaty. You know, that game is at its best, actually, when it comes to the cutscenes, when they just let fucking Sam ragdoll, to be honest. I'm not even kidding. There's cutscenes where they just turn him into a fucking rigid body, and it's the funniest thing. Also, look at that. The death mechanic is different compared to how it is in Serious Sam 2, where you restart the entire section. Here, you just die and come back instantly. And this was most likely done because, well, it was a early 6th gen console FPS, and so... And it was coming from the world of PC. It wasn't built from the ground up for a console. It was built from the ground up for PC, then it was ported over to console, and so they felt they probably wanted to make sure that no one felt like they were being cheated, basically, by the limited controls. The frame rate is good, though, so they're not getting, you know, screwed over there, but still... there are aspects to take into account. As you can see, this giant reticle on my screen. What is that? That's the auto aim. I've talked about this. Basically, I'm just going to be reiterating a bunch of shit that I said in my playing FPS games wrong video. But essentially, yeah, this is one of the games that spawned that video because I really like playing this game. Even though I'm technically not playing it the way you're supposed to. I'm supposed to plug in a controller. And I do own a controller. I own several, but I just don't like using them. I wanted to like them, and I just never did. So that's how it works. Anyway, okay, yeah, the game can be quite challenging as it is Serious Sam. You could probably expect that. Now, it also doesn't help that I'm commentating over it at the same time I'm trying to play, because this shit, it can be pretty demanding. You motherfucker. These dudes are just the worst, because they're hit scan, and they hide everywhere, and they're just assholes, and I don't remember that going down. Now, of course, because we have so many lives, it becomes far more difficult to really lose any progress, and they actually make sense. Okay, what the fuck? See, look at this. Who's shooting at me? I'm just getting shot at for no reason. Where? Where is this damage coming from? Oh, there it is. Good thing they blend perfectly into the yellow environments with their yellow color. That's whatever. That's enough complaining about that. Again, Focus on B is more of a series where I talk about the game as a whole compared to just instances of me getting annoyed at level design and being like, what the fuck do I do? Because oftentimes that's what happens here. In my Let's Play series, I just don't know where to go. Why is that? Because I have absolutely no sense of direction. Fortunately, in this game, you don't need a sense of direction. All you need is a sense of hold down the trigger, and you look at the enemy, and he goes like, and as you can see, yeah, the auto-aiming system is very generous. As long as the enemy is anywhere within that circle on the screen, you're pretty much good. Like, it's just gonna, especially for projectile-based weapons, they'll just target them instantly, and that's fantastic. I think changing the visuals around to be a little more in line with the sort of cartoony style gives Serious Sam a... I don't want to say that it makes him more likable, because he's always likable, to be honest. He's always been likable. Oh, fuck me. Okay, I might as well just die at this point so I can get some more health. You will be doing that a lot. Now, of course, you'll probably be playing the game better than I am right now if you're not freaking recording and commentating over it, but still, it can be quite a challenge. But anyway, back to the art direction. I don't know, this just takes me to a different time when ports of games were just different and special. Not that it never happens today, but it's far more rare, especially on a grander scale. It's still kind of common to have regional differences, yes, to appropriate a game series to a different region, of course, because there are different tastes around the world. But when it comes to just like the different version of a game, it's like, it's usually just, okay, implement these kind of controls depending on the game that depending on the platform that you're targeting, change the graphics a little bit just because you have to. Whereas here, I mean, yeah, of course, the Xbox, I doubt it could have run what would have been the equivalent of the PC version maxed out. This seems, the change in art direction is clearly, it was a decision made not because of, oh, it's on console now, but it just felt like they just wanted to go in a different direction just for a couple of years, you know, because it lasted from this, there was Serious Sam, well, not really Serious Sam Advance, I mean, kind of, but there's also Next Encounter. I should not have done that. That was a complete waste, but at least I got an extra life. It's so weird getting the extra life and not having them sing it, you know, like in fucking Serious Sam 2. Where was I? That sound effect can get very annoying over time, to be honest. Are we gonna progress, or... I know you have to collect, like, these freaking bugs or something, these scarabs or something. Whatever. Where was I? But yeah, and then there was Next Encounter, and then there was also Serious Sam 2, and funnily enough, you know, not surprising actually, because it's just kind of how game development goes. If you look up Framerator's really good video on the leaked beta version, like the early versions of the HD remakes, they're not remasters or remakes, they're just built from the ground up, with, you know, new visuals and everything. Come on, there you go. You can actually spot a lot of assets from this, not this, well, yeah, actually, no, there are assets from this version, and also from Serious Sam 2. I'm sure that like, from the beginning, they wanted to change back to a more realistic sort of style, especially then with Serious Sam Free, of course. But, you know, it is fun to see those remnants, because that's just how game development works. Anyway, but how do I feel about the consoleization in terms of control? You know what? This makes the game far more accessible. the fact that I practically don't have to... Okay, not that I don't have to worry at all, but it basically makes the default experience kind of feel like a tourist mode. Because you know the tourist mode in the PC version where it's like... I think it's in this version too, in a way. Well, no, I think it's just an easy mode, but every mode kind of feels like tourist now because it's like there's so much leeway. Like you would have a really hard time dying here. You know what I mean? Oh no, you die a lot, as you've seen me do so. Secret health has been found. That's great. But what I mean, yeah, I know, Natrixa, we gotta go collect the things. So let's go ahead and do that. But what I mean is you're not gonna be failing, I guess, too much because of the fact that you pretty much have all these lives and oh. Wait. Was that supposed to happen? Oh, motherfucker. No, you can't do that. Actually, you can. That's fair game. But you know what? Screw you. I got an extra life right as I died. That's such a video gamey thing to do. It's interesting because Croteam seem to genuinely be excited by game consoles, which is strange because they're a Croatian game studio, right? Croteam. And something that I find typical of Eastern European countries, like countries from this sort of part of Europe, like my own, and also Russia and other parts of the world, that we're not too big on consoles. You know, like no one I know owns any consoles. Other than the PS2, everyone owned the PS2 because everyone owned a PS2. That's just how it works. Handhelds were actually pretty big here, and now the Switch obviously is big. I mean, it's big everywhere. That's kind of how it works. It's basically the modern PS2. But that makes sense because it's kind of hard to take your gaming PC with you. I mean, I know laptops exist, but even those require a bit of a setup, you know, like putting them somewhere. Meanwhile, with a Switch, you just whip it out and bada boom, right? You're playing. And that's pretty sick. It actually makes you consider legitimately getting one. I don't know if that's going to happen, especially because they've probably put out like a new model at this point by the time this video is out. But anyway, but it is interesting to me that a Croatian game studio would be excited by the concept of game systems, you know, platforms, instead of just like regular PC gaming. I mean, of course, they started on PC because that was just what they could do, because I imagine, you know, getting your game on a console is quite a bit more of a process. Now, where the hell... I know this is the bit where you have to... Okay, you know what? Let me activate Natrixa. There it is, right? How do I... This should be the entrance to the thing. Where's the... No, hold on. I don't actually... What are we doing? Yes, what was the button to... There you go. No, that just... Okay, fine. I guess we just have to find the switches. I don't know, because the game actually generally just puts a big arrow on top of things to let you know what you gotta do. And no, I'm not about to fall into the trap of not knowing what to do. I know what I have to do here. It's just that I have to go and find it, because every area here is a little bit samey looking. I think this is it. I gotta hit the switch. No, I think I've already activated that one. Wait, no, don't tell me that other switch was the one I was supposed to... Wait, no, I bet I just have to jump down here, right? Is this open? Oh, no. We're expected to... Oh, no, there you go. And that's the level over. There you go. Now we're going to access the sewers. We'll keep going through there, and... Yeah, okay, this is one of the... one of those weirder cutscenes. We're going to just take a look at this one real quick. It just hit me that I completely skipped a good chunk of that level, actually. I mean, not a good chunk. I didn't skip it necessarily, but what happened was, I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be another enemy encounter, and there was, but I just jumped down. The game wasn't stopping me. And I swear to God, there was a section where you had to collect these tokens, right? These bugs. But I guess they removed it for this version. There are some changes. While this is a pretty much straight port, minus the visual differences, of course, and control differences, the fact that it's, you know, the first two encounters together, that doesn't mean that there's absolutely no changes. There are some differences in the design, which I feel were, I guess they're for the better. They're just kind of minor conveniences, like the, you know, removing tiny little bits where you gotta collect stuff. It's the sort of thing where you think, like, if, for example, let's say Serious Sam Free had come out around this time instead, you know how there's that one section where you have to collect freaking gas canisters? And it's just the stupidest thing. Yeah, they probably would have removed that for a console port, but, well, the game has a console version on the 360 and the PS3. That one's not very good, apparently. And, no, they haven't removed that, because at that point we were well beyond the era of actually changing the game for the system. It was just kind of like, well, let's just turn it down to low settings. Well, actually, I think the 360 version still looks okay, but the PS3 version, I mean, goddamn, it's funny how it's like the more powerful system, but it really doesn't look like it, you know? And that is very much proof that it's not about the horsepower, it's about the way the horses are used, you know what I mean? Let's see if we can use, I mean, the chainsaw is very effective for these guys. Oh, it's just one of them? No, it's going to spawn more, right? Yeah, of course. But I prefer to actually use my rocket launcher on them if I can get a good distance, because you get a lot of combo kills that way. Here, well, using this, you're not going to get any combo kills. So, that's that for those guys. Let's go ahead and keep moving through the stage. I really apologize for all the visual, you know, inconsistencies. Azemu's been updated several times since I last played this, but they still haven't resolved this. But yeah, it's okay. I mean, the fact that this works at all is an absolute miracle. I mean, like, if Xbox emulation took so long to become usable, you know, and considering that so many other systems were basically just, oh yeah, I have it on PC. You know what I mean? It was like there was no question about it. It's really funny though, looking back and watching old videos about that kind of stuff. Like, Frame Raider is now deleted, but you can still find it on the archive. Not the archive channel, but the Internet Archive. His video on Xbox emulation, it's a really well done video. It's just that it's really funny how out of date it is now, considering how many things have changed, right? Although it's still important historically, I believe, and I find that stuff very interesting to document the history of these kind of third-party unofficial projects, right? Because a lot of official stuff is well documented because it's official and it's supposed to be blah blah, but not so much these things. But anyway, back to the game itself. The targeting system is totally fine. I don't find it offensive at all. I honestly am a fucking terrible shot on PC anyway. You've probably noticed whenever I play actual PC games that are first-person shooters. And, yeah, I don't know why. I cannot aim for shit. I try my absolute hardest, but it just happens to be very difficult for me. Here, on the other hand, well, as you can see, I'm still missing quite a bit, but it's not that big of a deal, right? You just kind of go through, and everything's fine. Oh, motherfucker. And I do think this is, it's really strange, this era of console gaming where you were technically getting the quote-unquote definitive experience. I mean, for like with this game, you get the improved visuals in a lot of ways. I think they're improved. Most people seem to think that. That's why there's mods for the PC version that bring these things over. And oh, what the fuck? And you also get more content. You get both games together. You know, it's not, even though, to be fair, how much was this when it released? Because the original games were budget releases, right? Oh, sorry about that. I had a feeling that would happen. I accidentally pressed the key combination that is used to eject the disc from the emulator mid-gameplay. And so that's why I have disabled my auto hotkey script, because I use auto hotkey typically for Zemu to reconfigure the controls to make them more akin to how I'd like them to be, but for some reason the emulator just doesn't let you do that by default. There's not even a config file or anything that I could find, at least, so I just have to do it that way. But let's, I've disabled that. The default control configuration for this emulator is actually very suitable for first-person shooters. This is clearly the kind of thing that's like, it's the Halo machine, basically. It's like you get this to play Halo without it being the supposedly shitty PC port. I don't know, it doesn't, I've played the PC port of Halo, but it's not that bad. It is missing a couple effects or whatever, but it's not like, it doesn't matter. Where was I? So it's interesting how, yeah, you used to get like basically, it was almost like a definitive version of the game, in a way. Again, because of the fact that this has more content. Again, I'm not sure if this was like full price, whereas obviously the PC versions were budget releases, or maybe this was also a budget release. I don't know. It seems like a bigger budget thing with a bigger publisher, you know. We got another cutscene over here.
It stinks in here. Huh? Wow.
damn, levels go by a lot faster than I remember. I mean, seriously, I did not expect to go through like 3 levels in a single like 20-minute session. So yeah, we're gonna be ending it quite soon. But what was I getting at? So for example, like with Half-Life, like how you get basically this visually updated, more polished version of the game on PS2, you know? Or what other examples can I think of games where you actually get the better experience on console versus even not even limited to shooters? Like for example, Rayman. Rayman on PC is basically just the N64 game with slightly higher texture fidelity, but for the most part, it's really not a very good port. Like, it's okay, but especially nowadays, it does not hold up. Whereas, like, the Dreamcast version is fantastic. The PS2 version is also pretty cool, although some people might not care for the changes that they made to the game. I personally, so far, am enjoying it. I've been playing through Rayman Revolution, and I think I'm gonna be doing a series on that at some point. I really like what's happening with the game, but that's more for me to discuss in a different series. But anyway, and so this game is one of those where it's like, hey, you're technically playing on inferior hardware, but you're getting so much stuff that's just, it makes it better on the whole. And that's why I think this version has developed a bit of a following in of itself alongside just the series as a whole, right? And it'd be pretty cool to see some of that happen at some point. Maybe when if I eventually get to making my own games, because I've been, for some reason, obsessing over that as of late. Just reading about documentation and all these engines, figuring out how to do things, despite not actually doing it much, but, you know, practice beforehand and then fucking read up on the thing and then it'll become easier, whatever. But still, maybe at some point I'll do that on purpose, where it's like, it'll all be on PC, because duh, but I'll make versions where it's like, hey, what if my game had been released for the console at that time period and I change some things around, maybe add some content, maybe remove some content, whatever it might be, to make a different build to confuse things. I don't fucking know, it's fun. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this episode of Focus on B. This has been Focus on B, the single-part video series where I take a look at a game like this, where, you know, I love this game, but I don't really want to let's play it. It's very long. It's kind of the same thing the whole way through, although it does change quite a bit. It's just not enough. You know, it wouldn't be super suitable for a let's play, in my opinion, although there are good let's plays of this game. Like Prince Boo, he did like a fucking several years, like a decade ago now, he did a let's play of this game. Very good let's play. Go check it out. It's super old now. But still, it's still fun to watch. But, you know, I'm not going to be doing a let's play of this. I'll probably do something else. So, yeah, this has been Focus on B, and this has been Serious Sam for the Xbox. I'll see you guys next time on Focus on B.